Over the last 3 months, ended August 29, 2024, with 19.66%, the BSE Healthcare Index is among the top performers. Now, the three largest companies in this index by market cap are Pharma, Divi Labs, and Cipla. Together, these three companies constitute 26% of the index total market cap. The index has as many as 98 stocks. So, if you are looking to add pharma to your portfolio, which of these three bellwethers would be the best choice? Well, by the end of this video, you will know. Hello and welcome to ET Money's YouTube channel. Today, we will compare the top 3 companies in the pharma sector. Now, we have done a similar comparison of the top 3 banks. You can watch the video after this one too. I have mentioned the link in the description. And do let us know in the comments if you would want us to compare any specific companies in a particular sector. But before we go any further, a quick update. We have recently launched the stock discovery feature on the ET Money app. Now you can get every detail about a stock and its underlying business in just one tap. Also, there is a lot more things you can find out. Do check it out. Alright, now this video is divided into certain sections which are on your screen. Now you can use this framework to compare any other pharma companies too. So while we will talk about 3 companies in this video, its use case can be quite wide. So let's begin by comparing the businesses of these 3 companies. On the face of it, these 3 are pharma companies, but that's an understatement, as there are wide variations within the pharma sector in terms of what companies do. Let's begin with Sun Pharma. Now, Sun Pharma offers specialty medications, generics, OTC medications, APIs and ARV medications. Now, understandably, these may seem like alien terms, so let's quickly understand them. Now, specialty medications are meant for rare and complex health conditions. They have high costs and patent protected. The focus areas for Sun Pharma in this segment include dermatology, ophthalmology and oncology. Generics are medications on which the patents have expired and any pharma company can manufacture them. Now, Sun Pharma offers generic and branded medicines in more than 100 countries worldwide. OTC or over-the-counter medications are consumer healthcare products that we use in day-to-day life. Revital and Volini are 2 popular products in Sun Pharma's OTC medicine portfolio. APIs or active pharmaceutical ingredients are the central ingredients in medicines that produce the intended effect. For instance, paracetamol is an API used in paracetamol tablets produced by many pharmaceutical companies. It helps relieve pain and reduce fever. Now, Sun Pharma manufactures over 380 APIs, which it uses in-house and markets them to over 60 countries. As a manufacturer of APIs, Sun Pharma also offers contract research and manufacturing services. Now, ARV or antiretroviral medications are used in the treatment of HIV and AIDS. Next, let's talk about the business of Divi Labs. Now, Divi Labs is primarily an API manufacturer and supplier. As we saw, APIs are active pharmaceutical ingredients or the main component in medicines. Now, Divi's business segments include generic APIs, custom synthesis and nutraceuticals. In its generic APIs division, it manufactures bulk APIs. Its product list includes 30 APIs. It is the largest API manufacturer in the world for 10 of the 30 APIs. Now, Divi's custom synthesis division manufactures APIs and intermediates for global innovator companies or big pharma. Now, intermediates are chemicals that are used in the manufacture of APIs. The company has 12 of the 20 largest pharma companies in the US, Europe and Japan as its clients. Nutraceuticals are products that act as nutritional supplements as well as medicines. Divi manufactures carotenoid and vitamin ingredients used in the food, beverage, dietary supplements, pet food and feed industries. Now, carotenoids are pigments in plants and they can act as antioxidants for humans. Finally, let's talk about Cipla. Cipla offers generics and branded generics, specialty medications and consumer healthcare products. Within specialty medications, Cipla's focus areas are respiratory disorders, central nervous system and critical care. In the consumer health segment, Cipla offers well-known products like Omnigel, Naslin, Cofsils and Nicotex. Now, in addition to these, the company manufactures diagnostic kits, devices and APIs. Its API basket consists of over 75 complex developments. So, if we compare the 3 companies, Sun, Divi's and Cipla, based on their offerings, while Cipla and Sun have a more diversified portfolio, Divi's is primarily an API manufacturer and supplier. Alright, let's now take a look at some sector-specific metrics for the three companies. Indian pharma companies are known to be exporters as they drive a major part of their revenue from outside India. This makes it important to understand their revenue segmentation. Now, Sun Pharma's revenue split for FY24 is on your screen now. As you can see, a majority of Sun's revenues come from the US and India branded formulations. Emerging markets and the rest of the world constituted about a third of the revenue. Now, Sun's API segment is rather small and contributed to less than 5% of its sales in FY24. Next, let's look at the revenue composition of Divi Labs. In FY24, Divi's derived the majority of its revenues from Europe. The contribution of the US in its revenue stood at 17%. What about Cipla? Well, Cipla is a more India-centered, with India contributing to 43% of the company's revenue in FY24. North America, including the US, stands at a healthy 30%. The company's API division is even smaller than that of Sun Pharma and contributed to just 2% of the sales in FY24. So broadly, Sun and Cipla are more dependent on the US and India markets, and Divi's is more dependent on the European and the US markets. Alright, let's talk about the next important metric for pharma companies, ANDAs and NDAs. ANDA stands for Abbreviated New Drug Application. It's a submission to the US drugs regulator, the US FDA, for the approval to manufacture a generic. NDA stands for New Drug Application. It's a submission to the US FDA for the approval to manufacture a new drug. Now, the main difference between the two is that ANDAs don't require extensive preclinical trials, as they involve just the manufacture of a pre-existing generic. And because NDAs deal with new drugs, they require extensive preclinical trials. Now, ANDAs and NDAs are closely linked to pharma companies' growth. Hence, they are closely tracked. Now, as of FY24, Sun Pharma has filed a cumulative of 635 ANDAs, of which 531 have been approved. It has filed 65 NDAs, of which 51 have been approved. So 104 ANDAs and 14 NDAs are pending for approval with the US FDA. In Cipla's case, as of June 2024, 164 ANDAs and NDAs have been approved and another 31 have been tentatively approved. 83 of its ANDAs and NDAs are pending for approval. So as far as this metric is concerned, Sun is far ahead of Cipla. Now, ANDAs and NDAs don't apply for Divi's lab, as it is not into direct manufacturing of drugs. Alright, let's now check the next metric, R&D expenses as a percentage of sales. Now, this metric is important as research and development is a key area for pharma companies. Sun Pharma is the undisputed leader here. Its R&D expenditure has ranged from 8 to 11% of sales over the last 5 years. Divi spends the least on R&D among the three companies. The next important metric is capital expenditure. Capital expenditure, or CapEx, is money spent on physical assets such as plants, equipment, building, land, etc. This is an important metric for many sectors, including pharma, as it is directly related to business growth and expansion. Now, Divi's is the clear leader here. While its CapEx as a percentage of sales has fallen, it still remains ahead of both Sun and Cipla. Lately, Divi's CapEx has also seen a rebound. Now, the next relevant metric is the asset turnover ratio. The asset turnover ratio indicates how efficiently a company uses its assets to generate revenues. The higher this ratio, the better. Now, it is derived by dividing the revenue by average total assets. Pharma companies tend to be asset heavy, so it makes sense to check this ratio. Cipla has had the best asset turnover ratio among the three companies, and Divi's has the worst. Next, let's talk about another key metric for pharma companies, which is patents. Now, as of March 2024, the value of patents, trademarks, and designs on Sun Pharma's balance sheet stands at over 12,000 crore. Cipla's corresponding number was only about a third, at about 4,500 crore. This number was not available for Divi Labs. However, as the percentage of gross block, there isn't much difference between Sun Pharma and Cipla. Now, gross block is a component of a company's non-current assets and includes goodwill, buildings, plants and machinery, patents, etc. Finally, let's talk about perhaps the most talked about metric for pharma companies, one that grabs most headlines and keeps pharma companies in the limelight, and that is compliance with the requirement of regulatory agencies such as the US FDA of the US, EMEA of Europe, MHRA of the UK, and so on. Of these, the US FDA related compliance gets the most attention as the US is such an important market for Indian pharma companies. Now, Sun Pharma has frequently been in the news due to frequent drafts the company has received from the US FDA. In its FY24 annual report, the company stated that it has pending US FDA compliance issues at 3 of its facilities, Halol, Mohali and Dadra. Now, Divi's annual report states that the company is in compliance with the major regulatory agencies. Cipla reported 52 inspections conducted by regulatory agencies in FY24. The company received a warning letter from the US FDA after an inspection conducted at its Indore facility. So, Divi seems to have the cleanest compliance record for the 3 pharma companies. Now, these were some of the sector metrics and how the 3 companies fared on them. Let's now compare them on some financial parameters. But before I move on to the next section, let me request you to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already a subscriber. Let's start with the revenues of the 3 companies. The first thing to note in the revenues of the 3 companies is the scale. Sun Pharma's revenue is almost double that of Cipla, and Sun and Cipla's revenues are 6 times and 3 times higher than those of Divi's. Divi's actually has much lower revenues than Sun and Cipla, as it is the second largest company by market capitalization. Now, the answer to this puzzle lies in the valuations of the 3 companies, and we will discuss them soon. Now, among the 3 companies, Sun Pharma has the best revenue growth over the last 3 and 5 years. Divi's growth has tapered since FY22. Before that, its revenue grew at 20.9% per annum over the previous 3 years. Alright, let's now compare the profits of the 3 companies. The revenue trend is visible here too. Sun and Cipla's net profits are about 6 and 3 times those of Divi's. In terms of growth, Sun Pharma is the clear winner by a wide margin, but the growth rate of Cipla are great as well. However, Divi seems to be struggling with its growth numbers, with its 3-year growth rate actually being negative. But until FY22, its profit had been on the growth path too, with a 3-year growth rate of 29.5% per annum. Alright, let's now check the operating margins. Divi's has the best margin profile. However, its margin has dipped in recent years. Sun and Cipla's margin have shown improvement over the years. Overall, in average terms, Divi's is far behind of Sun and Cipla. The reason for the difference is Divi's nature of business. Divi's is an API manufacturer and Sun and Cipla are primarily medicine manufacturers. Next comes ROCE, return on capital employed. Even here, Divi's has the best performance followed by Cipla. Sun lags behind on this metric. Overall, if we leave out the last 2 FYs, Divi's has been a clear winner. But the company's performance has suffered over the last 2 years. Finally, let's take a look at the stock metrics of the 3 companies. Let's check the historical returns of the 3 stocks. Over 1 year to 5 year periods, Sun Pharma is the best performer. But over 10-year period, it's Divi Labs that has performed the best. Now, as we discussed, Divi's performance has taken a hit in recent years and this has impacted the stock returns too. Let's compare the dividend profiles of the 3 companies too. Divi's is ahead of both Sun and Cipla in terms of dividend payout ratio. The dividend payout ratio indicates what percentage of its profits a company distributes as dividends. For Divi's, this number is almost 50% and it has risen over time. For Cipla also, this number is rising. Sun Pharma has cut its dividend payout through over the years. Lastly, let's take a look at stock valuation vis-a-vis the historical median. All 3 stocks are currently at a premium to their 5-year median, but the premium is quite steep in case of the Divi Labs and almost negligible in case of Cipla. The high valuations at which Divi Labs trades is the reason why it's among the 3 largest pharmaceutical companies in spite of a lower revenue and profit. So given all this information, which is the best stock among the 3? Let's see next. So Sun Pharma or Divi's or Cipla? Well, Sun Pharma and Cipla are the play on generic, branded and consumer medications, while by investing in Divi's, you get to play the API subset of the pharma industry. Sun and Cipla are more dependent on the Indian and US markets, while Divi's has more exposure to European and US markets. In terms of metrics that we discussed, their performance is on your screen. Now you can combine this outcome with your own research to pick the right pharma stock for yourself. But do let us know in the comment which pharma stock would you prefer. And that's all I had for you today. I hope you found this video useful, and if you did, please don't forget to share it with your friends and family. I'll be back soon with another video. Till then, take care.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.